kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
The end of the season stretch only gets harder from here. After last week at North Wilkesboro, where we saw an absolutely incredible show, we come now to Martinsville Speedway in Ridgeway, Virginia, for the Pitbull Tobacco 100 here tonight for the SCL Winston Cup Series. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening alongside me. My broadcast partner, Zach Woods. Zach, a great race last week at North Wilkesboro as we're entering the final stretch of this championship season. It's also the most difficult stretch of this championship season.
Yes, and we've been flirting with the idea of racing at short tracks over these last few weeks with some hybrid tracks in North Wilkesboro as well as Worldwide Technology, but we're not getting around it tonight, Frank. Tonight is the short track at Martinsville, as these guys are going to be exercising patience, hopefully, all night long. We've seen some great racing from these drivers at SCL, and I think we're in for a treat tonight, but certainly in for some tempers flaring, I'm sure, towards the end of this thing.
Yep, and those tempers will be flaring because of the championship hunt that is still within reach. Mediocre finishes for both Maxwell Caldwell and Braxton DeWeese at North Wilkesboro last week, but it's currently a 90-point advantage that Maxwell Caldwell currently holds over Braxton DeWeese as we get into this championship. As we get into the final stages of this championship, I should say, it's really starting to look like a three-horse race between Caldwell, DeWeese, and Joseph Grijalva, but Grijalva is going to need a good performance here tonight at Martinsville.
Yeah, we've seen quite often in this series of teams kind of rising to the top, rising to the occasion, I guess I should say. So don't count Grijalva out just yet, but certainly some good luck needs to fall his way in order for that to be a reality here as he's trying to get a championship tonight. But fortunately, Frank, you don't need luck. You tend to make your own here at Martinsville. I think we're going to be seeing some drivers try to manufacture their own luck, as tempers will be definitely a topic of conversation tonight. Taking a look here at just some practice laps. I'm seeing the guys that we've been talking about quite often, Austin Call, Chris Myers at the top of the boards right now, but Braxton DeWeese here in 5th place. It's going to be an interesting night, as I'm sure Martinsville tends to always do, bring comers and goers through the field. There will be drivers that can lay down some blistering qualifying laps, but will eventually fade throughout this one. Taking a look here at some practice times, Frank, who do you got your eyes on in terms of the comers and goers this evening?
Well, we're looking at Braxton DeWeese right now, who is the fastest of the championship 3 currently in this session, with DeWeese sitting in the 5th position on the timing and scoring sheet. Maxwell Caldwell also out on track in the number 87, and around behind him goes Joseph Grijalva, who is the slowest of the 3 drivers still hunting for the championship. Those guys currently sit 5th, 8th, and 10th on the timing pylon. And as you'd mentioned, one guy who is going to need to be really good coming into the race on Wednesday night, the Truck Series Championship, Austin Call, who is currently leading that championship on Wednesday night, fastest of all right now in the Cup car.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting evening. I love how these drivers continue to race hard, even if you're not racing for a championship, right? That's what makes motorsport so interesting, because unlike maybe watching a NFL playoff, you get to see contenders all the way through the very end of the season. It's not like a 1v1 match at the end, or 3 or 1v3, I guess I should say, here in this situation. You have other drivers who aren't racing for a championship tonight, but they are sure going to be racing hard for a win.
Yep, they absolutely will be as we head into the qualifying session here tonight. We'll see who is the first of the drivers to jump out on track. It would appear, at least at the moment, to be the 18 of Austin Call in that Dogecoin Toyota Camry. Joseph Grijalva, Steven Johnson, Braxton DeWeese on track as well, as other guys starting to trickle out onto the racing surface. We're going to have 25 drivers here tonight. Pretty big for a race at Martinsville at the end of the season, no less.
Yeah, and we've talked about this extensively with SCL, how great this league is, and continuing to encourage folks to participate towards the end of the season. I really, really like that out of this league. We're getting spoiled up here in the broadcast booth with full fields week in and week out, even though we're here at the final race.
Absolutely. It looks like it's going to be one and done for Braxton DeWeese, who goes on pole at a 19.40 on his first lap. Austin Call betters his second lap. Joseph Grijalva will better his first lap, but he will stay in the 5th position as last week's winner, Chris Myers, jumps up into the 3rd position. Myers on his second lap. Man who finished 2nd last week, Trevor Dalton, finishing his 2nd flyer, will stay in 4th. Looking through a big jump, Myers up into 2nd position, as we see Justin Lewis in that Shelby Ford number 07, working his way down the back on his final lap, 6th quickest on his first lap.
Yeah, some of these guys, wow. Some of these guys you got to pay attention to and trying to build momentum for next season. We talked about earlier tonight how there are some drivers out here that aren't competing for a championship, but definitely have their eyes set for perhaps a next season run. So take a look at some of these guys making perhaps a name for themselves and building momentum for next year. I look at Devin Ray right here. Right now he's 13th on the charts, but
Big lockup.
pretty high there. Oh, there it is.
Big lockup on lap number 2 there for Devin Ray going into turn 3. He will qualify no better than 14th as Bradley Cartwright taking it wide in turn 1 on his second lap. Justin Sorrell halfway through his second lap, slowest of the qualifiers to have made an attempt thus far in the 199. As Sorrell close that outside wall in turn 4, Sorrell will jump up to 15th position. As we will see the 10 of Chris Vanderplatz on his second lap, heading through turns 3 and 4, sliding through turns 3 and 4. He will go no higher than 8th.
We've talked about this quite a bit at some of the intermediate tracks that we've covered, Frank, but it's going to be another topic of discussion this evening. These next-gen cars get loose on exit if you throttle up too soon, and if you have too much wheel in it, like if you don't let the car drift up towards the wall, you're going to be in trouble. It's definitely going to be a conversation starter for some of these guys that are going to be pinned on the bottom. You have to drift the car up towards the fence, and if you want a steady drive off. We're seeing that a little bit here in qualifying with some guys trying to cheat the exit, not letting that car drift.
P10 for Mike Peters, quickly sent to P11 by this man, Matt Johnson. In the number 3, Johnson fourth quickest on his first attempt. He will go no faster than that. And with 54 seconds left to go, we just have guys out on track trying to get a couple of extra practice laps in. As Tillman Hoyer, Josh Tarrant-Hill, Barrett Flo, and Larry McKenzie have not yet attempted a qualifying time. As we will take a look. Well, just with about 26 seconds left to go here in this qualifying session, and may as well get every practice lap you can as man get some drifting practice in.
Yeah, you have to maybe put yourself in position to kind of learn how to save it too. So definitely don't hate this call and coming out and maybe self-spinning, whether it be by accident or on purpose. We'll let the driver keep that in his pocket, but you got to also learn the craft of saving a car. So I think that'll be a big conversation starter tonight as well. So very interested to see how this is all going to play out as qualifying seems to have reached its end. Now we're going to be gridding up.
Yes, we are. If you want to take a look at your messages there, Zach, we will now go to that starting grid. Braxton DeWeese at a time of 19.397 will start on the pole here for tonight's race. Chris Myers, last week's winner at North Wilkesboro, to his outside. Maxwell Caldwell and Matt Johnson will start in row number 2. Austin Call and Trevor Dalton will line up side by side in row number 3. Row 4 goes to Tyler Rudge and Justin Lewis. Chris Vanderplatz and Joseph Grijalva will sit in row number 5. Mike Peters and Joshua Yarborough will make up row number 6. Todd Merkel and James Mann will line up in row 7. Stephen Johnson and Bradley Cartwright in row 8. Row 9 will see Justin Sorrell and Michael Matta with Devin Ray and Mark Brown rounding out row number 10. Andrew McKenzie will be the last of the drivers to take qualifying time. Barrett Flo will line up next to him in row 11. Row 12 will see Larry McKenzie and Tillman Hoyer. Josh Tarrant-Hill will round out the field in the 25th starting position. Barrett Flo, Larry McKenzie, Tillman Hoyer, and Josh Tarrant-Hill will line up via their iRating here this evening. Taking a look at the weather conditions for tonight's race, we're about halfway past 10 p.m. in sim time. 2 mile an hour winds, so not much to worry about there. It is a cool night, 77 degrees here in Martinsville, 79-degree track temperature. That should help corner exit for these cars a little bit, especially as the run goes on.
Yeah, and we expect up here in the booth to be long green flag runs. I know some folks are taking a look at this and going, "Oh wait, iRacing, pretty full field. We're here at Martinsville. Why are they even entertaining the idea of tire wear?" Well, we've been treated to Frank to be quite to be quite frank. There it is. Some really special racing. These guys tend to get in a groove and mind their P's and Q's. So I don't expect there to be quite a lot of drama tonight. I think these drivers are going to put on a great show for us. So tire wear will definitely be a part of the conversation this evening.
It certainly will be. We only saw, about 4 cautions at North Wilkesboro last week, and we did see a very long green flag run there of about 50 to 60 laps, pretty much all the way until the end of the race. So we had a very good run of racing at North Wilkesboro, which is just as tough a racetrack for some people to get around as Martinsville.
Absolutely. I gotta be wondering what's going through some of these championship contenders' minds as the grid up just seems to take forever here. But honestly, it's definitely nerve-wracking for these 3 drivers, and I'm excited to see just how aggressive the 3 championship contenders are going to be here early on.
Waiting on a couple of guys to ready up here. Maxwell Caldwell, Stephen Johnson has just gotten into his grid spot. Devin Ray and Josh Tarrant Hill are the 3 that we are waiting on here, and we're just about to the point where those guys will be starting from the pit lane. And surprising for Maxwell Caldwell, again, who is the points leader by 90 points going into tonight. There he comes, loading into the session. I was going to say, to start P3 and start from the pit lane here, that's putting a lot of trust in the guys around you that you're going to be able to make it through without much issue.
Well, some drivers have pre-race rituals. We are got to empty your own fuel tank, if you know what I mean here, Frank. But I think we're going to be in for a treat tonight. I don't think this is going to be a very long slugfest, as some iRacing events at Martinsville tend to be. But it's always good to hedge your bets, to maybe go to the bathroom, get a drink here, as gridding up is near its 10-second mark, as guys are actually pulling away here. So it looks like we are going to have perhaps Josh Tarrant Hill starting from the pits.
Yep, Josh Tarrant Hill, who was going to be starting from the back anyway here tonight, will be starting from pit lane as we work our way around for our first of 2 pace laps here at Martinsville. With this being a shorter racetrack, you get a couple of pace laps here. Just gives these guys a little bit of an extra chance to think about what's going to happen here over the next 125 laps.
Yeah, and this is really nerve-wracking as a driver. Just, it's going to be a marathon. You got to get settled in, find a groove early. I fear for a lot of these guys that are starting on the outside lane. There's a lot of trust here as the drivers are getting ready up to go, that the drivers on the inside are actually going to hit their braking points, hit their marks on cold tires to begin this race. So a lot of drama here about to unfold at Martinsville.
And not a lot of room or time to be able to get those tires heated up and ready to go racing here. Again, 125 laps here at Martinsville Speedway. 3 races to go in the championship. The Pitbull Tobacco 100 here from Martinsville Speedway is green.
Barreling down the front stretch, and there it is. There it is. We talked about breaking points, and it's a big one. Starting with Chris Myers and involving quite a number of drivers here. Talked about breaking points, and unfortunately, Myers looks like he locked it up there going into 1, and we got a big mess here, first corner of the race.
That's what it looked like, and you're right, it didn't look like anybody hit him. It just looked like he lost it going into turn 1. as this race and the bounce back from last week, as Myers is going to be forced to allow the pace car to go by here.
A number of guys are, Frank. This is gonna shape a lot of guys' race, getting stuck behind the pace car. But look here at the replay. It's just a matter of locking up your brakes as that hard right happened to the 24 machine, collecting a number of guys.
Man, it looked like those rears locked up on Myers, sent him shooting right down to the inside lane and then overcorrecting. Boy, Deweese did get a little bit of that. Grijalva, one of the three guys in the championship, gets caught up in it. Lewis, Yarborough, Mann, 73 of Brown gets it right there as the guys start to recover.
Tell you what, Matt Johnson in the 3, he started right behind Chris Myers on that restart. Didn't get the best restart. He looked like he spun his tires. He's probably counting his blessings, saying, "Whew, I'm glad I messed that up. I wasn't in it."
When the mistake restart becomes the best option you have, that is certainly what the 3 of Matt Johnson has. There you see Joseph Grijalva saw him nose into the 24 of Chris Myers, and you could see there on camera, just had a little bit of a glitch there, little bit of a punched in nose for that number 47, so a little bit of damage. Doesn't appear to be too much and too bad for Joseph Grijalva right now in 9th position.
And Grijalva, all that he's got to do now is just watch his water temps, right? And you get that front end damage. That's your main concern if the thing is driving straight. And I think that if he's still out on the racetrack, he thinks everything is good. Not really an aero track here at Martinsville, so you can tear these things up a little bit and keep on going. But if Grijalva's out there, I think he's got it in his mind. He'll be able to stay competitive.
James Mann, Joshua Yarborough, Tillman Hoyer. These 3 will be getting free passes once we get the one to go here. Caught behind the pace car. Chris Myers will be a lap down to the field after pitting from in front of the he was in front of Mann, pardon me. Those were the words I was looking for. He came into pit and was put a lap down, so the 24 of Myers, the only car not on the lead lap as we sit, getting set to go back to green flag racing here on lap 7 of 125.
Just one thing of note here, Frank, before we go green. We talked about Josh Charrett Hill before we began. We said, oh, he's not making a qualifying attempt. He's not gridding up with the field. I am looking right now. It looks like he is race control for this evening. So if anybody is watching, rooting for Josh Charrett Hill, a name that we talk about a lot here covering SCL coverage, and you're wondering, hey, what's going on with him? Now you know.
There you go, and he extended the caution that extra lap, so one more pace lap to go before we get back to green flag racing, just to give James Mann, Joshua Yarborough, and thank you to Chris Myers, Tillman Hoyer, the time to catch up to the back of the field. As Braxton Deweese and Maxwell Caldwell line up on the first row, green flag is in the air. Deweese gets a very good jump going into turn 1. Everyone straight this time around.
Yep, drivers are minding their P's and Q's here as we see they are getting single file here early. Great wisdom from a lot of the drivers here at SCL tonight, shaking off that first restart. As I say that, we got some spinners behind them. The 44 of Steven Johnson. Looks like a single car incident back here.
Yep, and it looks like something we're going to see a lot here tonight, and that is too much gas a little bit too early coming out of some of these corners.
Also seen Todd Merkel sideways as well, so maybe more than one car.
There's the 2 of Merkel. We'll see. We'll try to suss out what happened with Steven Johnson first here. Oh, they're both together, so we'll suss out their issue at the same time. Johnson blows the corner, turns the 2, and then loses it. So that was nice and convenient. At least for us on the broadcast side. Joshua Yarborough making his way down pit road. Justin Lewis continuing damage repair from that first incident, not wanting to use the fast repair this early. Down pit road as well. As Chris Myers will get his lap back in that number 24. He has used his fast repair. So
a lot of pressure.
Go ahead.
A lot of pressure from him to just kind of mind his business in the back right now. It's a long race to go, and you can make up a lot of ground by just kind of minding your own business. And we saw in the front of the field, Frank, these guys sorted itself out. Braxton DeWeese, Caldwell, Call, Johnson, all these guys kind of got in line and figured, okay, we're going to ride. But the drivers that are further on in the back, there's a lot of pressure. I got to make up all this ground really quickly. That's when you find yourself in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that thought that kind of brings you to road racing. As long as you keep the car on the racetrack and pointed in the right direction, spots will come your way. You don't necessarily have to go chasing at a track like this. You can allow them to come to you because they will eventually come your way.
Some news here, Frank. This is the Winston Cup Series. They used the Winston points, but we're also going to see some shades of Winston restarts as race control has changed the restarts to single file this evening. So some RCs do this if there's some some tumultuous starts at Martinsville, and sometimes they change it back. But that's a PSA for anybody watching out on YouTube this evening that restarts, at least for now, are going to be single file.
But thank you to the bunch of you guys who are watching on our YouTube stream to answer a question from Joe Grijalva in the chat. Yes, they do have one fast repair available to them in every single race as we get set to go. And the reason why you're seeing guys starting out here, you can only pass to the right on restarts prior to hitting the start-finish line. A very good run for Braxton DeWeese, straightening out his car as quick as he could. Back to green flag racing here at Martinsville.
Really making sure to wrap the bottom of the racetrack. You got to be careful of those bumps there in the center of the corner, but you want to be as close to them as possible. As you see Trevor Dalton trying to make some moves here on Matt Johnson, just can't get it done.
Very good exit for the 30 of Dalton, putting Johnson under a ton of pressure right now in that FanDuel number 3 machine. Battle for 4th on screen right now. Tyler Rudge just behind.
Got to be careful here in terms of how you make your moves too. If you're Trevor Dalton, you can be aggressive, right? You can try to make that dive to the inside, but if you miss your braking point, you're going to lose ground. And Tyler Rudge, they're lurking in the background as we do have a yellow out 2-car incident here in the back of the field.
That is James Mann in the 67, Larry McKenzie in the 00. And McKenzie, unfortunately, will go a lap down here. Or maybe not.
Mm-hmm. He's got to beat the pace car, but yeah, no, I don't think he did.
Nope, yep. He is not. So Larry McKenzie will go a lap down on this incident. We'll take a look and see what happened between Mann and McKenzie. It's like two separate things converging into one.
There it is.
Yep, too much gas too early for the 67, and McKenzie way out of line slides it through as well.
There's just no grip up there in that third groove. He was as far as the fourth groove all the way out there in the center of 3 and 4, but not a lot of grip to be found. We will see later on in the runs, as we talked about, tire fall off. Some drivers sort of experimenting up there, trying to make the straightaways as long as possible, but you don't want to be way up there where the track turns dark gray, and that's where McKenzie found himself.
Absolutely. As McKenzie, pit road is open to him this time, and he will choose not to come down to pit lane, as Braxton DeWeese has led every single lap here thus far in this race. Taking a look again in the chat, Ronnie Miller in the Braxton DeWeese fan group. Seeing Autumn Jones, Regan Jones going for Devin Ray here tonight. Regan Jones also going for Chris Vanderplatz, a part of CVP Racing, may as well. Currently right now, Chris Vanderplatz sitting in the 7th position in that number 10 machine. Devin Ray has climbed his way up 6 positions, up into 13th in that number 11 Chevrolet. As we are under our 3rd caution of the night, and again with single file restarts, I believe we should see Andrew McKenzie in that 00 lining up on the inside, and nope, it looks like he's going to fall to the back.
Probably for the best. You know, we saw early on in this race, Chris Myers just kind of hang in the back. He lost his lap, kind of avoided the mess in front of him and got his lap back. Certainly McKenzie can do that by dropping to the back and just kind of minding his own business back there. So I like that call.
Doug Middendorf as well in the Braxton DeWeese fan club in the chat. Thank you guys very much. One of the more active chats that we have here on Sim Racing Media, and it certainly does make these races a heck of a lot more fun, as we will stay single file here for this restart. We'll go back to green flag racing on lap 22 of 125. We've only been able to string a handful of laps together here under green flag conditions, as the field works its way through 3 and 4. Braxton DeWeese will make a hard left turn, get as straight as he possibly can out of the corner. Going to hold everyone up a little bit this time, and DeWeese off and running.
Some contact between Austin Cole and Matt Johnson on that restart kind of bottled him up, but I saw Johnson back there in that 3 machine look to the outside on the restart. He's now under fire from Trevor Dalton.
Yep, Dalton has been very, very good here in the early stages of this race. Michael Matta on the outside of Bradley Cartwright, and Cartwright will take that position, move the 531 up into the 10th position, as Michael Matta stuck on that outside line right now, losing 3 spots in that corner.
Matta's got to be careful. It is concerning being this close to the driver on your inside, but as we saw on that last caution, you don't want to be too far up. You have to trust that you and the driver in front of you, as he locks it up going into the corner. Did he save it? Wow, what a shot there, as we got to see Matta just lock up the front brakes, and he's able to make the corner.
Yep, on board of Matta for that pass on Devin Ray. A little bit further ahead, that was Bradley Cartwright into the inside wall on the front straightaway, I should say, and that will be caution number 4 here tonight.
I think this is, again, a case of too much wheel, too much throttle off. You're going to see here, nice rotation through the center of the corner. Yep, just not letting it drift up towards the wall. If you have too much wheel into it, you're going to get that snappy loose effect. And unfortunately for Cartwright, that was a pretty substantial hit to the inside fence, and he towed down to pit road.
He may have towed just to try to get out, to try to avoid that caution. Unfortunately, it didn't come quick enough for him, as Trevor Dalton was actually able to make a pass on Matt Johnson before that caution came out.
Oh, they're not done.
Oh,
they're not done.
No,
they've been going back and forth, seeing how all the way back to the drop of the green flag. So 2 drivers, I think, are going to be connected at the hip, so to speak, this evening.
Now we still have 2 more races to go in the Cup Series season. However, we only have 1 more to go in the weekly Street Stock Series, which we will broadcast tomorrow night from Texas Motor Speedway. And also, as we had mentioned before, in the Truck Series, Austin Call, currently sitting in 3rd position, has a 31-point advantage going into that race, looking very, very good fastest car in practice, running third right now on the racetrack. The man he is fighting is last year's Cup Series champion, Barrett Flo, who is currently sitting in 13th. Now, Flo did not put a qualifying time in here tonight and has moved up 9 positions. He is the biggest mover of the race, is that number 92. So it's going to, as we had set up on Wednesday night after North Wilkesboro, it's going to rely heavily on car count. 31 points with their point system, which is the current NASCAR point system, is doable. He's not mathematically eliminated. However, he's going to need a large field to show up, he being Barrett Flo, if he wants to take that championship away. If we get a field the size that we have tonight, all Austin Call will have to do is take the green flag, and then the championship will be his.
Makes a pretty simple evening for him, right? You take the green flag, go have dinner, come back for your interview. But the pace car is off, and they're all going to be chasing Braxton DeWeese once again as we're going to take the green flag here at Martinsville, taking lap 30.
Yep, DeWeese taking no time this time to get going. He's already out to a half a second lead over Maxwell Caldwell. These two battling for the championship on the Cup side, as Caldwell already down by about a second on Braxton DeWeese here on this opening lap. Battle mid-pack. That's the 73 of Mark Brown getting passed by Justin Lewis in the 07. That was a pass for the 15th position.
And we've seen out of this league some tumultuous starts at points, but then we've also seen them get into a rhythm, and I think that is what most of the field is trying to get now. Just hit your marks, notice the breaking points of the guys in front of you and behind you, and try to survive as well. Tyler Rudge is not waiting as he gets into Matt Johnson.
Yeah, no, that was the bumping point there for Matt Johnson. Oh, that's the 95 of Mike Peters that went sliding into the wall. So it didn't help that the 3 had also blown corner entry there, but I think the 95 had a little bit of a worse time.
Yeah, I just got done saying breaking points of the guys in front of you, and when they're battling like they were, as we're going to see on a replay, I'm sure in front of Mike Peters, when you're battling, your breaking points change, and so you have to alter your breaking points as well. As you can see, the 10 trying to maybe get a more shallow entry, and kind of gets the 95 all kinds of flustered, misses his breaking point, clips the inside rumble strip, we'll call it that, and jets out to the outside wall.
You said that the 10 kind of worked him out here. Here is Peters. He's going to come into the corner, almost hit the 10, realize I'm way too high on entry, and then try to yank the car down, and this car does not respond well to getting thrown around like that. And the car instead tried to throw the 95 around and did.
Saw on that replay, Frank, Vanderplatz, he took a bit of a defensive line about halfway down that straightaway and then jetted back up the racetrack in the normal racing groove. If you're a driver, you're paying attention to that. And when adjustments like that happen mid-straightaway, you do get flustered. You go, okay, now my entry has changed again. And I'm sure that's what happened to Mike Peters is that's a racing deal. Vanderplatz just trying to defend position while also trying to be aggressive. And Peters isn't able to hit his breaking point into the corner. But ultimately it does jumble this field back together again. And you mentioned before the caution, DeWeese was able to pull out to about a second lead on Caldwell there on that restart.
To borrow another phrase from the road racing side of things, moving around in the braking zone is a surefire way to make some friends. As we saw Bradley Cartwright getting one of his 4 laps back. Cartwright is still out on the racetrack. No retirements thus far in this race, as the 95 of Mike Peters has gone several laps down. He's still in the lucky dog position. Still a lap ahead of Bradley Cartwright. Peters is down 2, Cartwright down 3. at this stage in the race. Now, we had highlighted the Truck Series Championship coming up on Wednesday night. The weekly series we'll get to a little bit later on, apparently, because the lights have gone out on the safety car.
Yep, and they we're getting ready to go here again. Going to try to chase down DeWeese. These restarts are pretty cut and dry now, being single file. DeWeese can kind of just go whenever he wants. There's no real competition from Caldwell unless if he gets right up to the back bumper of the number 8 machine. Rounding through 3 and 4. Here we go. We're going to start lap 38 as DeWeese barrels out to a very clean restart, hitting his breaking point in the 1 and 2.
Braxton DeWeese didn't get the jump that he got last time. Maxwell Caldwell was on the early jump this time around. And oh, watch out. That was the 30 of Trevor Dalton. Caution out again. Saw the 30 and the 3 battling earlier, and I wonder, because the 3 had looked like he had gone into turn 3 quite heavy. See if there was any contact a part of it. As, yep.
Oh, yeah.
3 outbreaks himself. Into the wall they both go, and caution number 6 waves across the racetrack.
That's really frustrating if you're Trevor Dalton. You worked really hard to get by Matt Johnson. Fairly clean a couple runs ago. And Johnson just really thought that there was going to be a hole to the inside. Managed to really send it into 3. And, found himself getting into the 10 machine. Or 10 machine, excuse me. But it's going to result in an EOL there for Matt Johnson. Had a very strong car early, and now it's going to have to be patient trying to make his way back through the field.
Yeah, but that is an EOL for the number 3 of Matt Johnson. Mike Peters in the 95. There he goes getting his wave around. He is now 1 lap down, is Mike Peters. Didn't have to wait too long to get that lap back. Now, try this again. Tomorrow night, the weekly Street Stock Series. They will be at Texas Motor Speedway, Legacy Texas Motor Speedway. Tomorrow, same time. Joshua Dube currently leading the points championship. Now, we've got a 90-point lead over here on the Monday night side. The Wednesday night side is 30. Zach, you want to take a guess as to how many points we're playing with tomorrow night?
Oh, my goodness gracious. I can't imagine. Let's just go for vanity's sake. I think the over-under bet would be less than 10.
7. We have 7 points to play with tomorrow night. Joshua Dube currently has a 7-point advantage over Barrett Flo in the championship. Now, Kenny Tripp is also mathematically still alive with 447 points. He is 27 points behind. There's the quick math. So tomorrow night could be quite an eventful race. We've only done 1 of the weekly street stock races. That was back on the 11th of October. That was the 1st of November in Charlotte. We did that race there, and fortunate enough to be calling the championship race at the end of the month. So it'll be a fun night. We got 2 championship races for this series coming up here over the course of this week, and 2 more races to go on Monday night. So there's a lot of SCL action coming your way over the next couple of nights. A very early jump there for Braxton DeWeese. We're off and rolling again.
Early start, yes, but Caldwell timed that restart very well. This is the closest he's been to the lead in quite some time. As you take a look back through the field, Trevor Dalton making quick work on the inside of Devin Ray.
I'm trying to make quick work of Devin Ray, trying to pick up a couple of spots he lost. Dalton going from 4th to 10th in that last exchange, and Devin Ray gets sideways down the front straightaway. A little bit of contact from Barrett Flo, keeping it straight. We stay green.
Good job, Devin Ray. I know he probably doesn't want to see that contact, but ultimately was able to keep the car straight, and we still remain green as he up towards the fence again. I'm sure that car is not driving well.
Yeah, no, he slammed that right front. Tillman Hooer trying to find a way around the 73 of Mark Brown, taking the inside line, and look at that. Chris Myers already up to the 14th spot as these guys try to find a way around the 11 of Ray. And the caution
Ray
comes
a little
out.
bit sideways. Yep, there is a caution now.
Mike Peters and Matt Johnson.
Just documented how Johnson was given an EOL on that last caution. He needs to get going here. He will go left down.
Himself.
Oh, he's stuck.
He's going to have to tow.
Well, he's going to try, but I'm anxious to see if he floors it. He might wind up in the field. Oh, that is going to be a hard one to get out of.
Now, these Cup cars, for those of you who don't know, because of the rear diffuser, have a flat body, and that is a curb. That is not necessarily a rumble strip, and Johnson, you may as well give up the ghost now. There it goes. So Johnson has fallen a couple of laps down now. Again, these cars have a flat bottom, and that is a curb. So with that flat bottom, if you get on it in the right spot, you're going to high center the car and essentially get yourself stuck. And that's exactly what happened there. You heard he had full drive, tried to back it up, tried to give himself a little bit of a run, a little bit of momentum, and unfortunately for him, couldn't get it done. And that might be the end of the night for the number 3.
Yeah, it's been an eventful race for sure. We do see Braxton DeWeese here on pit road. I don't know about that, Frank. There's a lot of drama happening in the back of the field. I think track position is going to be everything. You don't want to pit until you absolutely have to.
Well, by pitting now, to play devil's advocate, by pitting now, he doesn't have to worry about, am I going to pit at the right time? And he doesn't have to worry about racing guys off of pit road or possibly having a slower stop against the guys he's racing. He knows now he most likely doesn't have to come into pit again for the rest of the race, and everybody else does. So I understand the call, but still, I wouldn't want to be at the back of a 24-car field here at Martinsville.
Well, he's handed the lead over to Maxwell Caldwell. So we're going to see a new leader here up front. He's gotten some pretty good restarts here the last couple. And now he's going to be the control car. So going to be interesting to see how he handles the pressure of being the lead guy. Don't want to throttle it up too early and spin yourself out or miss your braking point on the opposite end of the track, as we saw for the first caution of this event. So definitely a new wrinkle here at the front of the field.
Maxwell Caldwell, Austin Call, Tyler Rudge, your top 3. Chris Vanderplatz and Joseph Grijalva rounding out the top 5. Justin Sorrell, Michael Matta, Trevor Dalton, Barrett Flo, and Andrew McKenzie, your current top 10 as we sit here working lap number 52 of 125 here tonight from Martinsville. Again, the weekly stock car series will be tomorrow at Texas. That will be a championship race for them. And then the trucks on Wednesday night will be back here at Martinsville. That will be a championship race for them. Maxwell Caldwell, green flag back in the air. A great start from Caldwell, off and rolling.
Gingerly rolling it through 1 and 2. The front drivers remain single file as they're all going to continue to chase Caldwell down the backstretch, but Austin Call nipping at his heels here in 3 and 4.
Call staying quite close. Tyler Rudge doing the same in that New Jersey Devils number 86 machine. Let's look at a little bit further back. That is Justin Lewis giving a little bit of a shot to Andrew McKenzie in the 6, driving him up the hill. Chris Myers will thank him for the free position. Tillman Hooer trying to follow his way through.
Trying to go defensive here is McKenzie. You got to stop the bleeding here, but you also have to mind your P's and Q's because drivers behind you are looking for any advantage to pass under green flag conditions. And looks like he's recovered well as there's a big wreck in front of them.
Justin Sorrell, Trevor Dalton involved. That's unfortunate.
Gracious.
That's unfortunate
Sorry,
for Sorrell. He was in the top 10.
Ooh, with 30's got to get around here. No, he's in the fence.
Boy, and he hit the wall hard trying to straighten up to not go a lap down. So we'll see what happened here. This will start apparently with Trevor Dalton. Looks low, turn one. Sorrell trying to diamond that corner off. Michael Matta comes through. The 07 of Justin Lewis just does avoid getting pinched. And then as these cars start to head around here, watch Dalton. Thinks he's got time. There's the pace car. And now Dalton's got to hurry up here because the leader's coming, and that's a very hard hit.
I would say, Frank, that was probably one of the more, let's just say, natural wrecks that we've had tonight here at Martinsville. That's definitely way more of a racing incident than it was perhaps driver error. You had one guy rotating the center of the corner pretty well, and then the guy in front of him just simply thought, okay, I can drive this off exit, perhaps in my normal rhythm, and they just barely wound up getting in contact with one another. But so close to getting in a groove here tonight, and yet we're still under yellow here. Lap 58 out of 125 this evening, so they're all going to continue to chase Maxwell Caldwell, and yet the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? Single file restarts, you got the same group of drivers up front, and ultimately not a lot of passing happening up here towards the front right now.
Trevor Dalton getting the EOL to go to the back of the line. Dalton, the first and only car one lap down. Devin Ray, you saw, getting the free pass there. And unfortunately for Bradley Cartwright, he's still having to wait to get his 3 laps back. Mike Peters back on the lead lap as well after the previous caution.
Storyline we covered in the top of the show, Frank, involves one particular driver in Joseph Grijalva. And there's a couple races after this one in the battle for the championship, and we said he's got to have a really strong night in order to solidify some chances as he pursues this championship. And he's kept his nose pretty clean. He's started 10th. He's in 5th right now, and just minding his P's and Q's early. I like what I'm seeing out of the 47 Ford of Joseph Grijalva.
Got his nose punched in on the opening lap. An incident that was not his doing. But other than that, you're right. He has stayed perfectly clean here tonight. Has that number 47 is Maxwell Caldwell off and rolling again. Green flag in the air. Lap 61 of 125 here at Martinsville.
Really rolling that center of the corner is that 94 out there in clean air. It doesn't have to navigate any tight conditions with drivers in front of him, and ultimately he's going to be the benefactor of this as we take a look back through the field. That's the 07 of Justin Lewis making a move on Barrett Flow.
Very good run for him going into that corner. Lewis trying to work his way back up through the field after an earlier incident put him at the back. Everyone rather spread out now as Austin Call stuck in the middle between Caldwell and Tyler Rudge, logging in laps, getting data for this upcoming championship race on Wednesday night in the Super Truck Series.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. These cars definitely drive a lot different than the trucks do, but any laps at a particular racetrack is beneficial. So most certainly going to try to gather as much information as possible while also being as competitive as you can for tonight. Is You can see on the onboard call really rolling that center very well, cutting into Caldwell's lead.
Staying right on that curbing down there on the bottom, and you can see what Zach has been talking about, straightening up that wheel as much as you can before hitting the gas. You can see when he gets to full throttle, that wheel is dead straight, is to not spin the tires, and when it's not dead straight, as he gasses it up, almost loses it as Tyler Rudge heads around the outside.
Oh, Rudge it was a little bit ambitious there. Gets in the marbles. He's going to lose a position to Vanderplatz here. He's going to try to get it back right away. Normally that doesn't work well, as there's a battle behind them as the 07's making a move towards the front, and it's Grijalva around.
Joseph Grijalva getting hit. It looked like by the 92, and Barrett Flo gives the 77 of Joshua Yarborough a huge shunt. Barrett Flo now just getting it straightened out. As you saw, that was a fantastic pass by Justin Lewis in the 07. And then after he got clear of Grijalva, it just all hell broke loose.
Shallow entry into the corner. Everything looks fine, but Flo just seems to get into the 47, and chaos ensues there. If you're Barrett Flo on the inside, you gotta hold your brake there. I know we're commentators up in the booth, and but ultimately he had the thing saved, right? He hit the rumble strip, kind of did 360 to make a situation even worse. And look, he just taps the inside wall just a little bit. Just stay on the brake, and you're able to get out of here clean. But Flo maybe frustrated with himself there, trying to get back on the racing surface.
Yep, and that was certainly one where Barrett Flo tried to follow the 07 through, and Grijalva had closed the door on him. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching the Pitbull Tobacco 100 here from Martinsville Speedway. Almost. Well, we're past halfway, actually. There's my math working for me again. We'll be right back after this. Coming back to the green flag here on lap number 71 of 125 here from Martinsville. Green flag is in the air. Still no pit stops for the drivers up at the front. Justin Lewis had attempted a pass there on Tyler Rudge going on the restart. Unfortunately for him, did not work out. Barrett Flo able to keep his position from that last incident. Still in sixth. Michael Matta not that far behind.
We've seen everything in this league, haven't we, Frank, with drivers getting involved in cautions and yet somehow maintaining or increasing positions. But something of note is the fact that Justin Lewis pitted on lap 11, and he's been making some big time ground in the last couple runs. That might be worth noting, as there is a caution.
Yep, Tyler Rudge around.
Ooh,
and
no!
hit by Justin Sorrell, who had nowhere to go. Watching Braxton DeWeese there making his way forward. And that was a big shunt there. And now the 86 has high-centered himself. So we'll see what happened here with Tyler Rudge. That's Justin Lewis behind him. Lewis goes for the pass on the inside. That's two cars trying to occupy the same bit of asphalt. Or concrete in this instance.
Ultimately, I do like the call from Rudge, getting high centered. Don't fight it, right? Don't sit there for a lap trying to get your way out. Just take the tow, minimize what's going on, and been a lot of cautions tonight, so getting back on the lead lap is not out of the question.
See what happened here is Rudge definitely left in the line, but and then Sorrell, just with nowhere to go, had the 95 to his outside, so he couldn't make the move to the high lane without spinning Peters. As we are under caution yet again here tonight. Chili 5-0 in the chat there asking if the league is taking any new drivers. They are taking new drivers. You can search SCL in the iRacing Leagues page. It will show up as number 0.0 SCL Fixed Oval Racing is what it will show up as. Now, just be forewarned here, there's only 2 more races left in the Cup season, and tomorrow and Wednesday will be it for the street stocks and the super trucks. So if you're wanting to get in, I would say next season would be your best bet. There's a couple of cars making their way out of pit road. We had mentioned just 2 races left to go in the season for the Cup Series side. New Hampshire next week, which is save, resize image, thinking of Martinsville. And then Atlanta Motor Speedway, or the newly minted Atlanta Super Speedway, will be the championship race coming up in 2 weeks from tonight, just prior to the holiday season. Still a ton of great racing still to come here for this series, as Tyler Rudge will be forced to go to the back.
Well, they're all going to be chasing Maxwell Caldwell here on the restart. Got to see on that last set, Austin Call was able to take a look, but they're a little jumbled up here as we're going to take the green flag.
Yep, Maxwell Caldwell held them down for quite some time. Caldwell, Call, Vanderplatz, and Lewis, your top 4 in this group. Barrett Flo running in 5th. There's Braxton DeWeese looking to the outside of Michael Mata. That is for 6th.
Wow, DeWeese, what a run for him back up through the field, as he was involved in an incident early in this race. Or no, he wasn't. He went down pit road. Yeah, he was leading. Yeah, that's right. Oh, there's so many storylines, but the 8 went down pit road voluntarily, and he's made his way back up through the field. Good job on DeWeese.
Yep, and still does not have a scratch on that number 8. Just to show the pace and the ability that Braxton DeWeese has had here tonight. Justin Lewis getting up into the podium positions, getting past Chris Vanderplatz in the number 10. Another guy we saw spinning earlier on tonight, Steven Johnson, working his way up through the field, same as Chris Myers. Both of those guys back in the top 10. as
Super
caution is
impressed.
out.
Super impressed by some of these runs that these guys have. As we see Justin Sorrell turned around again on the opposite end of the racetrack in 3 and 4.
See what happened with Justin Sorrell here. It's Andrew McKenzie behind him, Joshua Yarborough in front. And got loose in the center. That's an odd one. We don't usually see that here.
Curious, Frank. Humor me for a moment. Because it tends to be a shifting error that happens when a car snaps loose like that in the center of the corner.
I will humor you because the last time you suggested that, you were right. So let's jump on board with him. Up into 4th. Down to 3rd.
There it is.
He just lost it.
Oh, you don't go into second gear in these corners. We saw a lot of drivers flirting between 3rd and 4th. I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard, but
no, he was in 3rd, as we're having some sort of issue up here. Mark Brown just have a little bit of a bobble. Just going down into turn 1. We saw these guys starting to. Oh no, Trevor Dalton had an EOL or something. Or maybe out of position. Yep, Dalton was out of position. Or, oh no, McKenzie's getting a free pass. That's what it is. Just odd how everyone's sort of scattered to the inside going into turn 1 like that. So working lap 86 of 125.
something of note is our 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, let's see, 7th, and 9th, 10th, excuse me, place cars have not pitted yet tonight, so pit stop will have to happen at some point for these drivers.
And for Chris Myers, he did come down pit road, to your point, but he came down on lap 2 to take the fast repair from his turn 1, lap 1 incident. Justin Lewis came in on lap 11. The other two, Braxton DeWeese came down on lap 48, and Steven Johnson came down on lap 40.
That's a great point. Like pitting on lap 2 or lap 11, that's all well and good, but it probably won't do you good to get to the end of this thing. It'll get you close, depending on how many cautions we've had this evening. So definitely pit strategy starting to play into factor tonight.
Caldwell, Call, Vanderplatz, Flo, Matta, and Hewer have not been down pit road here tonight. And as Zach just mentioned, all of those drivers currently running in the top 10, all 6 of them. As Caldwell lines up on the outside line, green flag back in the air, off and running once again here at Martinsville.
Unlike the last restart, Caldwell went a little bit early there. That you see the field sort of spread out right now, as they weren't as jumbled up before on this restart. As the battle rages back here with Braxton DeWeese and Barrett Flo. I say rages as it's all done now.
DeWeese right past Barrett Flo in 3 and 4. DeWeese is racing for a championship. Flo racing for 2 championships, just not tonight, as he will be the chaser these next 2 nights at Texas and then here at Martinsville once again, as Michael Matta going side by side with Chris Myers, this for the 7th spot. And Matta holding that
crossover.
inside. Big crossover from Chris Myers. And Myers will get the spot. A little bit of a punt there from Steven Johnson. Cautions out, but it's not for this. It looks like the 47 of Joseph Grijalva.
Oh.
Yes, and the 30 of Trevor Dalton. He might have broken that machine. Yes, he has. Right
Yes, he
rear
has.
suspension done.
He was so fast early, but getting involved in an incident a few cautions ago sent him towards the back. And it's just been one thing after another here for the 30 machine. But this side-by-side battle involves Grijalva as well as the 11 of Devin Ray.
Oh, and the 30 of Dalton wasn't even a part of that main incident. He had a slow up earlier on in the lap.
Yeah, he wrecked twice. He came off of the one end of the racetrack sideways, put himself in a bad position.
Here's the lap prior. There's the 30. Goes way deep into turn one, almost loses it there. Then here's the incident between Grijalva and Ray. It's like Ray may have moved down, and then in comes Dalton. Would have missed had it not been for the 531 of Cartwright.
A couple fast drivers involved in that incident as Dalton's on pit lane. And again, the story remains. The guys up front, when are they going to come down pit road? You got to come sometime and give yourself enough time to make your way back up through the traffic. So
with how many cautions we've had here tonight, they may not need to. If you sit here and run in fifth gear during qualifying, you could save during these caution laps, you could save a lot of fuel.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah. The tires will certainly take you there. As again, talking about the championship hunt here on the Monday night side, Joseph Grijalva came into this race 121 points off of the championship lead, and right now with Maxwell Caldwell, who is very close to getting the most laps led bonus point, only he and Braxton DeWeese have led laps, which is great for those two. Unfortunate for Grijalva because those are the two he's behind in the points championship. And with these guys running the old Winston Cup points championship points system, 121 is going to be very, very difficult to overcome. If he finishes in the teens, and if Caldwell and DeWeese both finish in the top 5, we could be looking at a 2-horse race between Caldwell and DeWeese going into New Hampshire as we get set to go back to Green Flag Racing.
Can't be thinking championship weekend. There's still a lot of work to do here with a couple races left to go in the season, as Maxwell Caldwell going to lead them off. Didn't get a great restart as Call. As close as he has been in quite some time to the 94 machine.
Chris Vanderplaats getting quite a wiggle there going onto the front straightaway for the restart. Braxton DeWeese makes contact with the 10, trying to get to the inside of him. Vanderplaats left him just enough room. DeWeese jumped the curb and hit the 10. Both keep it straight.
Well, got to remember, DeWeese pitted on lap 48, so he's gone freshies, but a lot of battles going on back here. 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th is body slamming going on back here in mid-pack.
That was a big hip check, and around goes Chris Myers in the 24.
And we saw everything here on SRM as Chris Myers got a door full of Steven Johnson and got outside of the groove, and ultimately that was his downfall on that caution.
Yeah, Myers got a big hip check going into turn 3. Braxton DeWeese was able to make the pass, so we'll look at that in just a moment here, but that was a huge shunt between Steven Johnson and Chris Myers. Here they come. Oh, Tillman Hoover might have been a part of that as well. The 14 gives the 44 a little shot.
Okay.
And then around goes the 24 in the back.
Okay, so Steven Johnson's probably just like, hey, man, I didn't mean to. I didn't do that. That wasn't me.
I can honestly say that wasn't me. There's Hewer, there's the bump. And then watch the 24 come by. Unfortunately for Devin Ray, just nowhere to go is the 24 out in the marbles. So 14 into the 44, into the 24 side pocket.
And I can see why you'd be upset if you're Chris Myers. But ultimately, I think he's got to go back and take a look at that replay. Steven Johnson, not necessarily the culprit for that caution, but caught me off guard there. Certainly thought that the that 44 was the cause of that, but ultimately, a little extracurriculars could be expected here at Martinsville.
Thinking Chris Myers is regretting telling me how to say Tillman Hewer's name correctly is what just one of those mildly inconvenient things that I hope your pillow is 2 degrees warmer than you like it when you wake up in the morning.
Yes.
Or when you go to bed. Just those mildly inconvenient things. I hope the broadcaster pronounces your name wrong now.
Well,
we have been. Don't worry about it.
don't quite know how to segue off of that one, but
here's a way. We have 4 retirements here tonight. Matt Johnson done after 45 laps. Tyler Rudge done after 84. Bradley Cartwright made it 88. Andrew McKenzie made it 90 before calling it a night. Again, Josh Tarrant-Hill, you've seen him scrolling up at the top. He was a did not start here tonight. Only one driver not on the lead lap. That would be the 30 of Trevor Dalton. Everybody else in with a shot at winning here tonight.
Couple EOLs here. Stephen Johnson getting an EOL. Chris Myers also getting an EOL.
Myers getting the EOL may have been requested. I'm not sure why, unless Stephen Johnson requested the EOL on his own. As we get set to go back to green flag racing, we'll have 21 laps to go here from Martinsville. Maxwell Caldwell with another good jump. Green flag in the air. Justin Lewis looking to the inside of Austin Call.
I've been really impressed with this 07 machine over the last few runs. He has been so aggressive on these green flag runs as he's going to have to go toe-to-toe with Austin Call because one of the faster cars in the field, DeWeese, is hunting him down, but there is a yellow. We're back under yellow again, and we'll see what is the cause of this one on lap 106.
00 of Larry McKenzie is being shown as the one. See what happened with McKenzie here, going into the corner. Up too high, exit, too much gas, into the wall. Seen that a couple times tonight. Drivers all up and down the field, all up and down the skill tree. All of them have fallen victim to it at least at some point. If not in the race, certainly in practice, just trying to get that little extra bit. And good news for Trevor Dalton. He will get one of his 4 laps back here under this caution.
Well, that all might come to a stop given what Larry McKenzie's going to do here. Obviously, big hit for him, but he was also trapped behind the pace car. So he is in line on the next set of cautions to get his lap back as a faster pair, as just went on the 00 machine. That just means Trevor Dalton's got to wait a little bit to try to make his comeback.
There's not a lot of time left here as Dalton now 3 laps down, McKenzie 1, which would mean that 30 needs another 4 cautions to come out here in the next 18 laps before he can get back on the lead lap. That's why we say if you're going to have a problem, have it early.
Mm-hmm. Couple drivers here in the top 5 that I'm taking a mental note of is the 07 and the 8 of Justin Lewis and Braxton Deweese. Both are exceptionally aggressive on these restarts, and rightfully so. They are on the fresher set of tires as Lewis, we documented earlier, pitted on lap 11. Not necessarily eons and eons ahead of the rest of the field, but just enough to be a little bit more aggressive. We've seen him make a lot of great moves through the field. And then, of course, Deweese, big storyline mid-race. He went down pit road on lap 48 on his own volition from the lead and has made his way up to 4th.
I think that's part of the reason why Justin Lewis is trying to get as many positions as he possibly can. I think Braxton Deweese has realized that the rest of the field is not going to pit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to make up for a quote-unquote mistake by coming down pit road, as we are getting set to go back to green flag racing here. Once again, Maxwell Caldwell, the man in charge. 15 laps to go and we hit the line. Green flag back out.
Drivers are going to be aggressive here, barreling down into turn 1 as the battle rages here between Lewis and Deweese.
Deweese fighting for a race, fighting for a championship. Lewis fighting for a race win. Lewis takes the defensive line going into turn 3. Deweese trying to cross him over. Both of them wiggle coming out of turn 4. Lewis catches the wall. Deweese can't capitalize. Now blows turn 1.
Got to get back in the rhythm. You are one of the stronger cars out here. If it stays green, you're going to be okay, as the 07 looking to the outside, trying to make a power move there on Austin Cole. Not going to happen as they exit turn 4.
Vanderplatz almost gave Deweese a hip check coming out of turn 4 into the front stretch wall. And the caution has come out. It looks like the 44 of Steven Johnson it is.
I'm not here to be a skeptic. Okay. I'm just here to see the replay here first. Okay, all by himself.
Yep.
All right.
Lost it on his own.
Yikes. Man, that 30 machine.
It's all just snuck away from that.
Maxwell,
go ahead.
Oh, go. I was just about to say here, Frank, it looks like Larry McKenzie is still on pit road. So, would that mean?
Oh, he's back out.
Oh, wait, no, now he's back out. So, okay, now I'm all kinds of confused.
He's still a lap ahead of Trevor Dalton, and he's going to get one of those laps back now. Unless he's gotten it back already while we were watching the replay. The lead of this race here tonight has gone largely uncontested. Braxton Deweese, apart from the 2 side-by-side restarts that we had at the very beginning of this race, went uncontested for the race lead before coming into pit on lap 48. And ever since then, Austin Call has not been able to get close enough to Maxwell Caldwell to mount a serious charge. Caldwell, by this point, has secured most laps led. So he is looking to come out of this race with maximum points heading into New Hampshire next week to try to extend that points gap between himself and Braxton Deweese to well over the century mark. Came in with a 90-point lead tonight. And if things stay as they are, he will have more than a 100-point gap on the 8 going into New Hampshire next week.
I'll tell you what, Deweese caught a big break there. We saw him under fire from Chris Vanderplatz in the 10 machine on that last run after he blew a corner. And the caution came out just in time for Deweese to say that last run was a wash. He's going to restart fourth just where he was on the last go-round. But they're all going to be chasing Maxwell Caldwell here going to green.
Gives you a nice little chance to calm down and reset after what was a hectic restart last time around. Green flag back in the air. 8 laps to go. Justin Lewis does not get a great start. Deweese tries to make the move on the inside. Couldn't do it. And now Lewis looking to put the attack on Austin Call, who goes defensive into turn 3. Lewis to the inside, hugs that curb beautifully on the inside, and Call goes around and hard into the outside wall. So does the 95 into the inside wall. The 2 goes around as well.
Grijalva's in it, and we also see the 95 as well. Mike Peters getting damage from it. This one is going to affect a number of fast drivers this evening, and ultimately is going to impact the ending of this race because Austin Cole was sitting in the catbird seat in second, and, well, he's not there anymore there, Frank.
And this is why I made the point of the lead having been uncontested, because that was also the first true contest for position that Austin Call has had tonight. And we saw the result. Has Lewis on the inside. Lewis doesn't touch him. Deweese doesn't touch him. And around he goes. There's Merkel. 47 does get a bit of it. That was quite the incident, again, for a guy who hasn't had much to worry about. Gets put under pressure, lost it on his own.
Yep. And we knew he'd have his hands full, right? 2 of the faster drivers in the field at the moment were there behind him, and after they stopped fighting each other, they set their sights on Austin Call, and, well, one fast repair later, he's back out on the track, but certainly not going to get a podium this evening.
Joseph Grijalva looking to be okay, currently running in the 10th position is that 47. Now we will see, as Justin Lewis held that inside line beautifully, did not move off of that curb all throughout the corner, even with the 18 taking that defensive line. Now we'll see what kind of fight Maxwell Caldwell is going to have to deal with, and if his fate will be the same.
Very interested to see how aggressive Justin Lewis is going to be on this restart. In my opinion, you have to be as close to Maxwell Caldwell as possible. We've seen drivers just kind of lay back a little bit, kind of guess the driver in front of them going. But if you're in second right now, and you know the guy behind you is on better equipment, right, in terms of better tires, we've documented that really well this evening. If I'm Justin Lewis, I am shoulders or elbows up, so to speak, and right on the back bumper of Caldwell on this restart. I don't want to give him any room to run away.
With that, this will be the first official attempt at a green-white checkered finish. I believe we have 3 of these or 2 of these. There, Zach.
I am trying to find it on my end. On my end, it's not currently showing.
It will
an
show
official
this
green-white
time.
checkered attempt. So
It
I'll
will
let
show
you know
right
when
now.
Okay, I'll let you know.
So we are on the genuine 3 to go here. This will be the first.
Yeah, it says 1 of 1 on my side. So
there we go. We'll only get 1 attempt at this. So Lewis is going to have to really make a move. If I'm Braxton Deweese, I don't know how anxious I would be to get up in the mix with those 2, seeing what the 3 had to do earlier on with the opening lap incident.
Yeah, we'll see. The 07 kind of lagging back a little bit. Now decreasing the gap. Frank, here we go.
Very good start for Maxwell Caldwell. Does not give Justin Lewis the chance. However, Lewis has been very, very quick down the back straightaway. A lap and a half to go here at Martinsville. It's going to be a one-lap chance for Justin Lewis to try to take this race win. A big wiggle out of Lewis coming out of turn 4. White flag is in the air, as that might have been all that Maxwell Caldwell needed coming out of 3 and 4. He got the race lead on a gift by the 8 of DeWeese coming into pit. He will hold on to it and take the win. Maxwell Caldwell wins the Pitbull Tobacco 100 here from Martinsville.
Did not pit the whole race long, and that is the right call, the winning call for Maxwell Caldwell this evening in the 94 Chevrolet, followed up by Justin Lewis, Braxton Deweese, Chris Vanderplatz, and Barrett Flo rounding out your top 5 tonight.
And we'll hear him in post-race, but I'm sure Braxton Deweese ruining that decision to come into pit back on lap 48. As Maxwell Caldwell takes the victory here tonight for what would be his 4th win of the season, his series high tying 4th win. Only other driver with 4 wins on the season, Braxton Deweese. As we will work to get these drivers in for a conversation here, as I believe we have our race winner in here now. Zach, you are with Maxwell Caldwell.
Maxwell, you did a great job tonight here at Martinsville. Deciding not to pit tonight was the race-winning call. At what point in your mind did you make up the decision, hey, I'm not going to go down pit road this evening?
Last week. This track, man, you know that there's going to be yellows. You know track position is going to be key. And it's kind of like the real Cup cars, right? Whenever you're having to sit here and shift at this racetrack, the shifting kills a lot of passing opportunities, especially here at night, because everybody's just running the same speed. Nobody's getting loose, nothing like that. So just kind of Braxton was in a league of his own as far as single lap time, but I felt like in the race I could keep up with him a little bit. But then he made one mistake. And that one mistake cost him. So track position was key tonight. He raced his way up through the field. My teammate Austin Call, he kind of got a bad end of the deal there, getting kind of tagged and hooked into the wall there toward the end. He ran a great race all race long, working with me there just to keep control of the race. But all in all, did exactly what we needed to do tonight. I was nervous about this race coming in because you can get a bunch of X's and get penalties pretty quick here. So just excited to not get dumped, not get hooked, and just be able to finish this one out. And with 2 races to go, I'm feeling a lot better as far as the championship goes.
Yeah, we'll touch briefly on the next race here in just a moment, but I do want to go back to the notion of, hey, you weren't dumped at the end of this thing. You had 2 very hungry drivers that were on, well, better equipment, let's just say. You had Justin Lewis pitting on lap 11 and DeWeese, of course, pitting at lap 48, barreling down trying to catch you. What was going through your mind on that last green-white checkered attempt? How nervous were you trying to put together 2 clean laps of racing to get the win?
Very. Lost my teammate who was restarting behind me all race long. That was vowing even at the end. He said instead of race me, he was just going to work with me when he saw Braxton coming up. He knew the point situation. So I was very nervous. The 07 had already just got into Austin there. And then he comes on the radio and says, hey, what's your points lead in case I botch this restart? And that makes you feel real good. So you kind of feel like a Leroy Jenkins down into turn 1's about to come. So glad that didn't happen. But I must have been nervous enough because going into turn 1, I was actually shaking just a little bit, but I think it's because I was super focused because I just noticed lap 125, I think I hit my fastest lap of the race and the fastest lap all week. So 19.373, that rivals that pole time. I didn't even think I could get there, especially on that old of tires. So super impressed with that lap. Just shows the fall off wasn't really there tonight, as long as you took care of the rears. But no, to answer your question, I was stupid nervous about that last restart because I've lost a lot of races on the last lap here, run up front all race long and then just get hooked, and that's a very disappointing feeling, and I knew it could really affect the championship. But luckily we just played our cards right, stayed out of trouble, and who knows, I might be the only driver that had a 0X here tonight. I really don't know. I'll have to look at that after.
You certainly raced a very clean race. Of course, you were up front and decided not to pit. But taking a look moving forward, great points day for you tonight. But as Frank said it in the booth, we go to a place where you pretty much copy and resize image as we take a look at New Hampshire. Very similar kind of racetrack. What are your feelings going there?
What if I told you that's probably one of my favorite racetracks on the sim? I love New Hampshire. New Hampshire's so much fun. In this car, I can't remember if I like it or not. Like Martinsville, I really like this track, but not in this car. I think the Xfinity car kind of drives a lot better around here. Because I'm not a fan of the shifting here at the short tracks, but New Hampshire is flat. You really have to let the suspension do the work and let the tires grip well. You can't overcharge those corners, and kind of reminds me of tonight. You can't overcharge the corners. So I feel like I'm going to have a good balance there. The next two tracks, really, I feel good. New Hampshire being one of my favorites. No matter what I run, I typically enjoy it. And, hey, at this point, some of the stress is coming off. As long as I finish top 5, I'm probably doing okay. But definitely think we can pull out a win there. It just depends on really how fast the 8 is. He's had more raw speed in some of these, but he just hasn't been able to put that whole race together a lot of times. No, feeling good about it. Really like that track, but also looking forward to Atlanta in 2 weeks too. The season event opener, like it wasn't the season opener, but the big event before the season kicked off, they had an Atlanta race, and it was a sponsored deal. And me and my teammate Todd Merkel, my boss here, he was able to push me to a 1-2 finish there. So we got the trophy sitting here at home for that. So looking forward to going back to Atlanta too. I think we can pull some strategy off there since it's kind of plate racing, kind of not, and try to pull off a W there, or at least a solid run there. So the next two tracks, I'm feeling good. It's just this one was a favorite of mine, but it was also I was super nervous coming into tonight. So good to see that we not maximized our points, but we led a lap, led the most laps, and at least got the win. But Braxton got the pole and got some laps led, so that took away some points. But yeah, just looking at the championship at 2 to go and 2 good tracks, I think we'll be okay. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Any thank you sponsors or shout outs you want to give tonight following this race win here at Martinsville?
Absolutely. First and foremost, got to shout out my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without him, would not be able to be here, would not be blessed with the equipment I have to be able to sim race and to meet all these amazing people. So thankful for what he did for me at Calvary, but also just thankful for the league. They welcomed us in with open arms from Area 51 when our league dissolved, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been adventurous at times, and the mood swings of a season, races you're happy like this and others you're angry. But it's been a good season and good running with some of these guys, and thankful for you guys' broadcast since y'all have come on. I've seen a lot of broadcasts on some of these leagues, and y'all put on a pretty darn good one. And I really enjoy going back and watching the professional commentary you guys give each and every week. And also just thankful for my teammates, man. Todd Merkel, Austin Call, Mike Peters, Mark Brown. Those guys run with me week in, week out, and do a great job. And last but not least, got to plug the sponsor there, Merkel Racing Engines. So Todd came on board this season, running with them in Area 51 a lot, and he made me a deal. I ran the paint for free, but if I win the championship, he's got to pay out something. That's the only way I get paid. So I'm definitely working hard to try to do that. But really, in all, just trying to help out a good buddy of mine. He's always been nice to me, and I just want to get his sponsor on these broadcasts a little bit and, make y'all's camera sit on it as long as humanly possible. So thankful for him and his sponsorship, and hopefully that continues on into the next season. And just extremely blessed.
Well, that is certainly a lot of thank yous. Takes a village, but ultimately, Maxwell, you did a great job tonight. Certainly got a lot of screen time out there, and that's your race winner, Maxwell Caldwell here at Martinsville. Enjoy this one, man.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
That was your race winner, Maxwell Caldwell. We will jump now to our second place finisher here tonight, Justin Lewis. Justin, you had a lot of great restarts towards the end of that race. Unfortunately, the last one, Maxwell got you.
Yeah. I was mainly worried about Braxton, to be honest with you, because I knew if I let him go, I was probably toast anyway. But I didn't take my fast repair in that first initial wreck, and I think he downshifted into 1 on the start, which hooked me right into the fence. So I kind of had to recover from there, and through fixing damage, I think it was like lap 11 or 12. I just screw it. I got my damage fixed. I'll take tires, see how it goes. And then I hate how this car works here, because if this thing would go green, I think I'd be pretty solid. But with no green flag laps, you had to be so aggressive, and it was tight trying to make things work. And with people not, sure where you're going to go right away, you hook them or something like that. So I was really pushing the X limit at the end of this thing, but I ended up making it with 16. So it was a fun race. I just wish we could have went green a little bit.
And we talk about it so much, how difficult it is to pass here at Martinsville in the best of conditions. But when you're in that position where you're only getting about 5 or 6 green flag laps at a time, how much more difficult does that make it to get passes done around a track like this?
I mean, you really you have to hit your marks right away with the tires being cool, and tire saving is not a factor at that point because you're only going to go 3 to 5 laps green. So you really just try to get good exits, and with this car you have to kind of get a high arc and cut off at bottom of the corners and try to get underneath them, or if you can get a good run on entry to get ahead above them, you can try to stay with them on the outside of the corner. But the problem with doing that is if you get loose coming off the corner, then you spin yourself, and then you're back in the back where you started in the first place. So I was just trying to, get them on entry as hard as I could without locking it up, which I felt like I did a good job about that. But some of the other guys just net code and some other stuff just kind of crowd you in. It's nobody's fault, but it is what it is. You try to get by them as clean as you can, and sometimes it doesn't work that way. But I'll take second. I just really wish we could have had a good battle there with those last 4, or really top 5 guys there. I think would have been a fun race if it could have went green for a little longer.
It certainly was a great show that you guys put on at the front. We head now to a little bit bigger, a little bit wider of a racetrack, but still the same configuration. We head to New Hampshire next week, another flat racetrack. What are your thoughts going into New Hampshire and your abilities around Martinsville? Do you think that'll translate over to the race next week?
Here, maybe a little bit. I look more towards comparing it to like Gateway. If we can go green at New Hampshire like we did at Gateway, I think I'll be in a good spot. Mainly with 3 and 4 at Gateway, kind of reminds me a lot of New Hampshire. Maybe minus a little banking at New Hampshire, the higher you get toward the wall, but that place has always been my Achilles heel. I'm never good there. I would love to be good there to kind of carry my momentum from Gateway for winning that race, but we'll just kind of see. I think it'll be a good race. Hopefully, more green flag laps. Kind of sucks. I always hate when we have a broadcast on. It's kind of a caution fest, so people, it's like real NASCAR. Long green flags run, everyone takes a nap. So hopefully we made it interesting up front, and hopefully New Hampshire goes better.
All right, Justin. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
You guys really for toughing it out. The league owners and promoters, they got a good group here. It's just Martinsville's Martinsville, and it's been that way in every league ever, and any NIS race and all that stuff. So nothing to fret about there. I think everybody will move on, and we'll have a good race. And yeah, thanks again for sticking out and making it interesting under our caution vest.
All right, Justin. Second place here tonight, bud. Congratulations. And with that, we will now move to our third place finisher. Zach, you are with Braxton DeWeese.
Braxton, this is Zach up here in the booth. You had a rocket ship tonight, but ultimately a decision about halfway through this race put you behind the 8 ball. If you could do it all over again, would you do it differently tonight here at Martinsville?
I'd make sure I wouldn't hit that curb and get loose and hit the wall coming out of 4 there. If I wouldn't have done that, I would have led every single lap and probably won the race. But, just passing was kind of hard for just everybody. I made some passes happen. I was picking them off here and there, but it is what it is. I'm just upset 2 races in a row that I know I could have won, and it's just given a bigger points lead for Maxwell. But I just need to be more consistent. If I could be more consistent with everything, then I'd probably have the points lead. If not, I'd be pretty close behind them. But it is what it is. It's a learning experience. I don't really race these cars much, so this whole season here in the SCL Winston Cup Series has been a pretty big learning curve, that to say the least. A couple races where the first half was terrible, and then we got a little bit better, like Gateway and
other races where we dominated, like Twin Ring Motegi and another track I can't even remember, but Homestead Miami, that's right. So we just need to put more races like Homestead and Twin Ring Motegi together like that. I definitely have the speed for some of these races for that. I just need to do a little bit more practice and figure this car out a little bit more and be a little bit more consistent. We'll be up there in the first spot.
You certainly had a great car underneath you tonight, and you talked about some of the mistakes you made early on, but I wouldn't beat yourself up too bad. You were one of the very few drivers in the field to actually consistently work your way up through the field after going back to the back. So what did you learn out of the race car as you were trying to maneuver your way through the field? Admittedly, on short green flag runs, what did you learn anything about the car that maybe helped you maneuver your way through the pack as well as you did?
Well, I believe in practice I found a little something different. I don't know if anybody else did it, but I'm gonna keep it to myself. It's something with the brakes, but I figured I found something out there to where I could get into the corner a little bit better, and therefore that I could take that to the restarts and set them up going into the turn, be able to go deeper into the turn, go up about a half a car, and then be able to turn down around the middle of the corner so I could get a straight drive off and be able to pass them there. But I knew I need to be on it with the green flags starts. So it is what it is. I just beat myself up a lot about it because I'm very competitive and I like to win and whatnot, especially considering got the pole and I had the car to do it. But it is what it is. All I got to do is learn from it and do better in the next race. So we'll see what we can do.
Well, Braxton, taking a look forward into the schedule, we move on to kind of the bigger brother of this racetrack in New Hampshire. What are your feelings going into that track that has a very similar layout as Martinsville?
I believe we'll have a pretty fast car like we've always had. Just drivers got to put it together, and we should be in the first spot.
All right. Well, are there any thank you sponsors or shout outs you want to give tonight on this third place effort? You still got podium, man. Don't beat yourself up too bad.
Yeah, most definitely. I got a lot of sponsors, supporters, everybody that tunes in and watches, and just sees everything that I have going on and recognizes it, and at least supports me a little bit. So I mean that's better than nothing. So big shout out to all the fans and supporters and everybody that tunes in. I also got to give a big shout out to the sponsor on the car, Judgment Auto Group, Scott Martin that works there. Hell of a guy. He'll get you hooked up right. So go there for any of your car needs in the Dayton area. Definitely got a couple more sponsors to thank with GP Diecast, Allen's Art Images, Midwest Weld Fabrications, Reg Customs, Scrubbing Tires Podcast, Short Track Report, NASCAR Technical Institute, and everybody else that makes this 8-car go. We'll see if we can finish these last 2 races out with a win and try to make up for these last 2 weeks win. Definitely could have got a win. So we'll see what we can do next week, and y'all have a good week.
All right, that's Braxton Deweese, your third place finisher tonight, and ultimately putting out a good effort here in Martinsville and looking to rebound next week as he's still in the championship hunt, looking to make up some ground. Have a good one here, Braxton.
Y'all as well. I appreciate it.
And that was our third place finisher, Braxton Deweese. And as he had mentioned there, Zach, speaking of the points lead, saying that with a couple less mistakes, he would either be in the points lead or close to it. 105 points is the separation between himself and Caldwell going into New Hampshire. That's a lot of ground to make up over 2 weeks. It's not impossible, but it is a very tough hill to climb.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think Justin Lewis said it best, right, Frank, where Martinsville tends to be a race where a lot of chaos happens, but looking forward into New Hampshire, you kind of don't know what's on the horizon for that race. It could wound up being a long green flag run, and we've seen Braxton Deweese very strong at those kinds of races. So, or it could wind up being a caution fest, right, as drivers struggle on exits. So, definitely have to game plan for sure for next week. not out of it yet, for certain. Especially with with Atlanta on the horizon, right? That's a wild card to end the season if I've ever seen one. So ultimately, keep your head up and keep on practicing, keep on digging. There's still time to make this as close as you can going into Atlanta on the series finale.
And speaking of making it as close as you can, an 8th place finish tonight for Joseph Grijalva means that he's going to be 191 points outside of the points lead going into New Hampshire, which means a race where he finishes behind Caldwell and Deweese at New Hampshire next week basically means his season as far as racing for a championship is over, and it will be a 2-horse race going into the season finale at Atlanta. But right now we'll take a look at the finishing results here for tonight's race. Maxwell Caldwell does take the race win. Justin Lewis and Braxton Deweese, we've just heard from those two. Chris Vanderplatz and Barrett Flo rounding out the top 5. Tillman Heuer, Mike Peters, Joshua Yarborough, Chris Myers, and Steven Johnson rounding out the top 10. Austin Call, James Mann, Justin Sorrell, Michael Matta, and Devin Ray the top 15. Joseph Grijalva finishing a lap down in the 16th position. Something must have happened to him on the last lap because I'm seeing Grijalva on my timing and scoring is 8th, but 16th here on the finishing results. Trevor Dalton, Larry McKenzie, Todd Merkel, and Mark Brown rounding out the top 20. Bradley Cartwright, Andrew McKenzie, Tyler Rudge, Matt Johnson, the finishing order for the drivers that started the race. Again, Josh Tarrant-Hill taking race control duties tonight did not start out of that 25th position. So that will pretty much do it for us here from Martinsville Speedway. This will not be the last time that you see the SCL series even this week as we head to Texas Motor Speedway tomorrow night for the Season 33 championship race at Texas Motor Speedway for the weekly Street Stock Series tomorrow, which a great points battle in that season. Again, 7 points the difference between the top 2 in the championship. That will be a great race. And then we will be back here at Martinsville on Wednesday night for the Season 33 championship race for the Super Truck Series. Austin Call versus Barrett Flo. Depending on turnout, we may have a championship fight, or we may be in a situation where all Austin Call has to do is take the green flag tomorrow on Wednesday night, and he will be the champion. Both of those races will be an 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time start for the broadcast. For my broadcast partner, Zach Woods, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. We will see you all tomorrow night for the weekly Street Stock Series right here on SRM. Good night, everybody.